AI continues to dominate the market with the SK Hynix IPO, reinforcing enthusiasm around IPOs and AI. S&P was up this week 1.2%. Can't believe we're at 75.75 on that index. Whew, I'll talk about that in a minute. Year to date, we're up 10.7%. Dow off a little bit because remember, they don't have the same exposure as the S&P does to AI. Year to date, still up 9.5% though. NASDAQ, of course, big winner this past week, up 1.7%. Year to date, up 13.1%. And the big one still is the Russell 2000, off slightly, but still year to date, up 20%. MSCI, this is the international index. EFI index was off 1.4%. Year to date, up 10.2%. And the 10-year Treasury closed above the 450. 4.56 is the rate currently, and WTI crude oil, even with the renewed scuffle, if you want to call it, closed at $71.41 a barrel, up 4%. So, renewed fighting last week between the U.S. and Iran saw the price of oil rise, but nowhere near what we saw in March. Why? Well, I think neither the U.S. nor Iran appear inclined toward really a prolonged conflict. And since the ceasefire in June, oil supplies, well, they've began to recover. And now they provide a buffer for energy markets. And you add to that, the labor market remains strong. U.S. corporate earnings look real good. And rates overall, well, they're pretty stable. So what's going on with AI? Well, of course, we were talking about the SK Hynix IPO. This is the infrastructure AI IPO that just came out. And anything related to AI has become a little bit more volatile on the down and the up as investors question the pace and the payoff of spending. So we're seeing signs right now of some fatigue with end user demand for AI becoming more price sensitive. And the market's starting to penalize companies that ramp spending too aggressively. So one of the things we look at is this, call it the MMT, the market multiple level. You know, I've talked about this in the past on the S&P. So where are the caps, bottoms, midpoints? Right now we're seeing 73.10 as a support level. The better if market scenarios, things get better, calm down overall. And so the support level right now is at 57.35. 57.35 on support. What does that mean when you're thinking about the market right now? Well, for the second half of the year, because now we are in the third quarter, we're going to start to see earnings reports coming out. It's going to start next week with the banks, and then we're going to see the large AI support companies and tech companies start to report as well. What are we watching next week? Well, inflation, of course. Tuesday, we're going to get the June inflation reports, the CPI for June. Then Wednesday, we'll see PPI, which is production inflation. And then Thursday, retail sales. And then earnings seasons, and the banks like Chase and B of A are going to start reporting. So all that's going to be what we're watching next week. And it is time, once again, for our monthly Bitcoin and crypto update. So what's going on in the industry? Well, you got Schwab. They're preparing to roll out more crypto services, spot trading, transfer, and custody for financial advisors in 2027. It's big news. Japan's National Business Corporate Pension Fund plans to invest about 1% of their 21 billion yen assets in crypto. Coinbase announced product expansion. Kraken, I love this one. Kraken is launching perps trading in the U.S. I read about that. You might want to chat GBT that and just say, what's a perp? NASDAQ said it will distribute its total view market data feed, and this is going to become the first traditional exchange to push depth of book equity data onto an on-chain Oracle network. Some more big news. Noteworthy ETF. These are the ETFs that are being created to deal with crypto. There are some new launches. iShare Bitcoin Premium Income ETF is starting. Franklin Templeton, this is a local Bay Area firm out of San Mateo. They filed for 2 stock ETFs, which will reinvest dividends, get this, in Bitcoin. XRP and HYPE, those are 2 ETFs. They stood out in June with inflows of capital of $59 million and $161 million, respectively. And the UK's FCA proposed allowing certain authorized retail investment funds to hold up to 10% of assets in crypto ETNs. What's going on in the stablecoin progress? Well, companies that made moves in stablecoin ecosystem, meaning they'll start to accept them: Visa, MasterCard, Fidelity, Bank of New York Mellon, Nomura, SBI, SoFi, Stripe, MetaMask, Ripple, Chainlink, World, Liberty Financial, Zodia, Opera, Fireblocks, Plasma One, Squid, Toss Bank, and Hyper Foundation. So a lot more companies getting into that. And then some regulatory moves for the month. The SEC published its draft strategic plan for fiscal years 26 through 30, placing digital assets at the center of a broad regulatory reset. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the administration is proceeding with all deliberate speed, that was a quote, in creating the Trump-ordered strategic Bitcoin reserve, and urged senators to pass the Clarity Act this summer. And the Fed proposed a new limited-purpose payment account, allowing fintech crypto firms to clear and settle transactions directly through the Fed without a full master account. So all these are, again, more support that is continuing to strengthen that area of the market.